Hello, welcome to Foliage. My name's John McDonald, and today we're going to make an arrangement that is like a kind of parallel style, continental style design. And for that, I've got a low double block tray with 2 blocks of floral foam as our base. Now, material wise, I've got gladioli, I've got some calla, some carnations, some alstroemeria, and just a nice mix of different foliages as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually put in my gladioli. Because they are such a dominant flower and they are such a big stem, we'll put these in first, and then this will stop us having any issue with access to foam later on. So it's interesting that I need to put that in slightly off-centre to make it look centred. And we can bring one down here as well. What I really like about the gladioli is we've got some beautiful foliage actually. It reminds me of iris. And it gives you such a good, strong, vertical line into the design. So essentially this type of design is grouped with things being created in a vertical way. So there is a definite front. But that doesn't mean that it should be flat. So if I can explain, basically we've got this one forward, this one back, we've got things at slightly different heights. So for all everything is going to be parallel and vertical, we've still got interest, there's still going to be an element of depth. So now I can think about adding foliage and really foliage just to create a base for our other materials. So I've got some nice pine. And what I may want to do with this is just group things. So again, where we're going to group the flowers, we can do the same technique with our foliage as well. So this will give the whole design more impact. It's going to give a stronger look compared to your normal design where you tend to mix the foliage through itself. This is an interesting, this is actually a Philadelphus. And I think we can go quite tall with this. I don't see any reason why not. But actually having this nice clean stem works really, really well. And this is some forsythia. I just have really been enjoying using it as a cut foliage. It's not one that you're going to be able to find commercially, but it works really, really well. It just creates, so we've got a grouping, a grouping, a grouping, and we'll make a grouping there as well. So we get more impact from the fact that these are grouped. Now I'm going to add a little bit of ivy into it. There's no reason why we can't have an element coming forward. And just as we've got that coming forward, we can do a little bit to the back as well. Now for this design, I would finish the back and make sure that everything is hidden from there as well. It's interesting how adding the pine just makes it feel like a slightly wintry arrangement, and yet it's not necessarily the thought of making it a winter one. It does stop it feeling summery. So a little bit of eucalyptus. The eucalyptus, I think, really lightens a design. And we can really make a feature of this clump of eucalyptus here. So we don't have to make two different clusters of any one material. We can have just one if we want. So I think now what we'll do is we'll add the flowers, and the first kind of strong flower that I've got are really these carnations. So we've got a nice stem with these, and I want to just stagger them down into our space here, and we can actually bring this forward a little as well. So we're creating a line, we're creating a focal point with those flowers, and we can then do the same with our alstroemeria. And I think really what we'll do with the alstroemeria is bring it more to this side. So you can see now that as I'm adding materials, it's a little bit harder to access the foam because we're not necessarily sure where the foam is. And that was where it was a really good idea putting the gladiola in at the start. We really get a clear view of the foam, and it's so much easier for accessing. Now I'm really just reseeding these alstroemeria, and this is giving us a lower level, which is quite interesting. And we can bring one to the back here as well. So you can see that it's beginning to build up. We've got some interest and we've got some very strong elements. Now, one of our other main flowers is going to be this calla lily. And now is a good time to bring this in. These ones are quite good. They've got quite a strong stem, a nice clean stem. So I'm not having any, I shouldn't really say that, I'm not having any issue putting that into the foam. As soon as I say it, then they'll not play ball, which in fact that one's doing. But we can put you down there for not behaving. And we can have this one a little bit taller. So you can really have fun with a design like this. You can work with height, with depth, with lines. You've got a lot going on that becomes quite interesting. And it's just fun to do. So I'm going to bring in some thistles, and I'm really going to bring them in low. Some more like you would base a design, and if you wanted you could really bring in material like moss. That would be really interesting. Some mosses or some cones. It depends how naturalistic you want it to be, or you can use the same technique to make something that is really quite different. Just added a little bit of euphorbia there, and because of the light colour it really lifts the design. And now I just need to have a little look. So we've got a little bit of an empty area there and a little bit of an empty area there. I'm going to add limonium into that side and some spray carnations into this side. So spray carnations, again, I think we'll keep them kind of low. Rather than tall like they would normally be. And we're just changing the nature of how that looks, which makes it a little bit more interesting. You can add a little bit of foliage there as well. That eucalyptus is quite nice with that silver pine as well. We can add our little buds. So what would be quite nice with this actually is some grasses. You know, if you had some really beautiful grasses with nice seed heads, that would be a lovely addition to a design like this, because it would soften it, it would give it some movement, and it would be quite interesting. So I just want to add a little bit of an element here, and that can be this limonium. So rather than going up with limonium, we can come out with it and create a bit of a grouping with it. So this type of arrangement is ideal for a buffet, ideal for a sideboard. It's ideal when you've got some interesting materials that you want to use in a different way. So rather than creating a normal kind of triangular front-facing arrangement, this way of working just rings the changes a little and gives you something different. So I'm going to finish at that, but I hope you can see that this is a nice design that gives you a different look, that really shows off the flowers to their best advantage. We're really looking at these gladioli, we're seeing them in a natural way, but our eye is also drawn to the detail that's in there as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's design, and we have new videos every week, and we would love you to join us for our next video. If you've enjoyed this design, why not share it with your friends and spread the news or the interest with flowers, because flowers can really be an enjoyable thing to bring into your life. So take care, and we hope to see you soon.